Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. Thanks for joining us again. Please subscribe, like, and make a comment in the comment section of the video. And I hope everybody is doing absolutely great. I really do. I'm doing fantastic, and I'm so excited to have a return guest, Linda Sherman, who is my co-host on Cancer Conquering Community on the Clubhouse app on Thursdays at 12 p.m. Eastern and 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. And she is a wonderful, wonderful person and just, I mean, she is amazing, absolutely amazing. And so what I'd like to do at this time is I'd like to bring Linda on and she could just reintroduce herself and then we could start talking about some very important subjects. Linda, please, it's your stage.
Hello, everyone. I'm Linda Sherman, and I'm so honored to be on this platform today with Mark. So, Mark, thank you. Um, I just wanted to say again to everyone, I am a stage 4 cancer overcomer. I used to say survivor, but I've now changed it to overcomer. Um, the journey was long and it was intense. But thank God that I've come out on the other side. I am still going through meetings with my oncologist and the oncology team to make sure that I remain in remission. And I'm trying to do all that I can to keep that on a positive note. So I'm so happy to be here today and so happy to share with you a couple of things. So thank you once again for having
Thank you, Linda. And we've got some really important things that we would like to share with everyone. And so what I want to do is something very different than what we've done is I'd like to have Linda share with everybody a cancer journey from a woman's perspective. And so Linda, please share with us, some of the things that you've had to go through as a woman, and I'll share some of the things that I've gone through as a man as well. So Linda.
me. Okay. One of the first things when I was diagnosed with cancer, I was told that I would lose my hair. That was a definite. Um, my hair was very long, and I've always had long hair, always. And so at that point, some people felt like I should go ahead and just cut it off. Other people felt like just wait and see if it actually falls out. Um, for me, I was not depressed or anything because of that. My main focus was I wanted to live. So if they wanted to cut it off or whatever, that was fine. I just wanted to live. Um, and so I waited and waited. They actually gave me a time frame on when it should start falling out. By my third infusion, it should start falling out, and it would come out in clumps, and that I would just be devastated to see that, and they didn't want that for me. So what I did, my daughter actually moved back home once I had the diagnosis to kind of help out at home, and she actually cut my hair one day. And I saved all of my hair, everybody. I saved it and put it in a box. But she she didn't shave it all the way down. It was just like extremely short. Um, and it did start to fall out, which was fine for me because, like I said, that was not my focus at all. But I do know that there are a lot of women that have the hair cutting parties where they have family and friends and they'll have a barber come in, cut their hair, but they'll have food and drinks and all of that to celebrate that part. There are other people that won't do anything and they just wait for it to fall out. And a lot of people say when they would get in the shower, that's when it would happen. Um, and so, like I said, for me, that was not something that was terribly distressing to me. But they also told me about something that maybe people don't know, and I wanted to share that. It's called a chemo cold cap. And you put it on your head. This is why you still have all your hair. You put it on your head, and it's like ice cold. It's like freezer ice. And when they put it on it's like frozen ice, so it almost like burns your scalp, is from what they told me, because it's freezing it, and that keeps it, so when the chemo is being infused, that keeps your hair from falling out. But the thing was, they could not guarantee. They said for some people it works and for some people it doesn't, but it's extremely painful to go through. And I felt I didn't want the pain. I'd rather just my hair fall out before I get the pain, but there are people that opt for that. And then of course you have people that do wigs, and it's a whole business now where they have um, the hair with the caps. So you have like a cap and hair coming out to make it look like your hair's under. But the one thing that I found very um, satisfying, for lack of a better word, is that I could then try different styles with wigs. I could try different colors that I had never tried before. And so I was able to experiment. And this one right here is one of my favorites. It's a short, little, sassy little wig, and I like it. And my hair was never this short, so I would have never had this style. But I'm like, I look good with this on. So there are just so many different things, and I tried different colors that I had never tried before, and I thought that was actually great. Um, and there are a lot of people that do the wigs or scarves or turbans because they don't want to go to the store or whatever. People know, because you can, when you don't have hair, other people tend to just ask, do you have cancer or is it something going on? So a lot of times we as women are a little vain and we want to, diffuse that conversation from even taking place. And so that is why we do it. And for me, that was one of the reasons too. I like a full, complete look. And I will say, doing this during the pandemic with COVID, it took away from wearing makeup and stuff because your mask is on your face and it covers up the majority. So that's been another aspect to it. But one last thing, not only do you lose your hair, and you lose your hair everywhere, but not only do you lose your eyebrows, your eyelashes, and mine still have not come back. But that's why certain styles like this kind of cover it up, and so you can't really see or notice that my eyebrows aren't there or my eyelashes. And my understanding is that this will all come back in time, but it's only been a few months since I've, gotten the cancer-free statement. So it's just things that women go through on how to navigate through this whole new look that you have or don't have, and how it affects you. But I always try to look at the positive on everything. So that's my take on the women's perspective from Linda.
Thank you so much, Linda. I myself, when I was going through chemo, uh, what you were saying about hair coming out in clumps, especially when you shower, it was like it's frightening. It's really, it really scares you. And so I remember showering and then just like these just big huge clumps. And so that's why in my earlier videos, that's why I always wear a cap. and it was just a lot easier for me to just throw it on and not have to worry about it because most of us, when we're not going through chemo, we have hair that's nice and even and everything like that. But to have hair in one place, one length, and it's just all kind of crazy, and so it didn't bother me personally at all because I was thinking, wow, I never lost all of my hair completely. It was just like in big clumps and big things, but it wasn't a great look according to me. But I wasn't concerned either about that, such as you, because I was also most concerned about living, and that's what was most important to me. I you just get to a point when you have cancer, in my case anyway, where you just put certain things aside, and one of the things you put aside is your looks and your vanity, and other things become much more important, uh, as far as survival and living, and being with the people that you love. And so that brings me to my next question for you, Linda, is how did cancer affect you and your family? Can you go into talk about that?
Yes. Okay, before I actually got the diagnosis, the actual diagnosis from my oncologist, I had gone to get my regular annual pap smear. And my doctor noticed that my weight had dropped tremendously from even the previous year. And she noticed that my stomach was a little hard. And I had been going to her for years. All of my doctors had the same doctors for all these years. And she had a look on her face that this was not good. And so I point blank asked her what was going on. Why did she have that look? And she said, just based on what she was seeing, like there was no actual examination for that right then, but she said based on what she was seeing and my weight drop, that it looked like it was cancer and that it was moving very, very fast. And I remember coming home and telling my husband what she said. And my husband is like a man's man. He's like very strong. He's like the quiet storm kind of strong. And he broke down and cried. Like broke down, like broke down. That's all I can say. And I then was trying to comfort him, but at the same time, I was so scared because I never thought I would hear those words. And I hadn't even heard it yet. I hadn't had a diagnosis. But I trusted her so much that I'm like, she doesn't make things up. If she felt that, it's something to that. And him and I talked later that day, and he was just like, he didn't want to lose me. And it almost felt like this was that kind of sentence. And we were both very sad and very quiet and just there for each other. And I always knew he loved me. That was without question. Always knew that. But in that moment on that day, it was demonstrated and manifested so clearly that this man really, really loves me. Um, and then I I talked to my I don't know whether I talked to my son first or my daughter. They're both grown, but I talked to both of them and to let them know. And they were both very positive. Mommy, you're gonna be fine, nothing's gonna happen. You just, whatever you need to do, you do, we're here, blah, 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 like that. And so extremely, extremely supportive. My daughter moved back home to help out with like cooking because I had to have a full hysterectomy. And so I couldn't be going up and down the stairs. So she came back to help with the cooking. She's a neat freak, so she was doing the cleaning and just there. And then once I had any doctor appointments, my son, he would come by and take me or meet me at the hospital for the appointments. And just, checking on me, calling like every day, and making sure everything's okay. And then I had to tell my mom, and she lives in New York. And so I told her, and she's usually very positive as well. But I knew this was such a shock because I had always been quote unquote healthy. And so she took it, but she was like, she wanted me to do holistic. She didn't want me to do chemo. And so she wanted me to go to holistic doctors, not do the chemo. Let's do affirmations. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's take these vitamins. Let's get these supplements. Let's speak these different things. And I spoke to my oncologist about it, but he said if I did not do the actual chemo and try these alternative styles, because my cancer was so aggressive, I would not be here much longer. And so I shared that with my mom, and she was like, I'm here with you, whatever you're going to go through, whatever decision you make, I'm here with you. And so for me, my family, they came through. Like I knew, like I said, I always knew that I was loved. But they came through and they stuck with me the entire time. And they were so positive that I was going to get through. And basically they catered to whatever I needed or wanted. And they were a godsend. They were truly a godsend. Yeah, I think that about covers my family.
No, thank you for sharing that because it made me reflect on my experience with my family, which has been really similar. I've talked about that in previous videos, but I could feel the the emotion and the love that you have when you talk about them, and so thank you for sharing that. Um, how did you deal with your friends after your diagnosis?
Okay, for my friends, and I have a large variety of friends, but they're like I guess I'll say in pockets. I have friends from work, I have friends from church, I have friends from that we still get together from a past job. I have friends from New York. They're all like in pockets. And what I actually did when I got the diagnosis was I reached out to those that to me were the closest and to people that I knew that would seriously pray, not just say, I'm going to pray for you, but they would actually pray. And people that I knew loved me and that wanted the best for me. And so I reached out to a small number at first. And I had one group of 4 women, and we would get together on the phone and they would pray, they were speaking to me. But anytime I was feeling anything, I could reach out to them. And 3 of the 4 of them had had some form of cancer before. So they understood what I was going through, and that was really helpful. And then I had 2 other groups of 2 each, that we would just get together each week and pray. Um, both groups of the two had never had cancer, but they walked and believed in faith, and they would speak into me. Even, and I really never got depressed. I was never a depressed person. But when I had thoughts, they would speak and like, let's cast that down. No, that's not what's going to happen. And they would just be there. And they were there 24/7. And they made that clear. If you need to call me at 3 in the morning, you can call me at 3 in the morning. They made themselves totally available. And I will say this is probably quasi family and quasi friends. My in-laws that are really family, which I didn't include in that portion because I was doing immediate, but they were there. And one of my sister-in-laws is a nurse. So I was calling her nonstop for everything that they were telling me. I was checking with her. And when I was really concerned about some things, I shared some things with her that I would share with nobody else because she was my sister-in-law for one, but she was a nurse for two. And she was a woman for three. And so I was sharing with her and getting her take on, is this the best way, the not way, or whatever. But my sister-in-laws and my mother-in-law, they were there. They would call and check on me to make sure I was okay. They would tell me it's all going to work out. You'll see. Da, 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 da. They would call because I wanted them to check on their brother and their son. I wanted them to check on him because even though I was going through and I was facing everything, he was also dealing with this whole newfound diagnosis. And so they were there. Friends at work, I only told two. I kept circles small for people that I told. But everybody, they all wanted to come to my chemo treatments. So I had a list that I had made up on which day they could come. And people were like, well, what, can I not come again? No, I got other people coming. So no, one time, you can come one time. But they all wanted to come to be there. You need a ride? No, that's why I have a husband. So we will go to the store. But they were just so supportive. And I will say on today, after like, I finished all the treatments and a few months, back, I met with a group of friends that I have not seen since before the pandemic. And I finally told them all what my journey had been. And one was about to cry. And they were like, why didn't you tell us, we're here to support you. One started singing some song about support. And I knew they would have been there. I knew that was not the thing. It was just certain people. That's all that kept coming. And I only reached out to people that I felt God was leading me to reach out to. But now, like, I'm telling everybody everything. And even when I was telling them today, I could feel the emotions rising in me where I was getting ready to cry and one of them was getting ready to cry. So it was not a good moment. But like I ended it with them like, I'm good. I'm still very cautious on what I'm doing, but I'm good and I'm going to live a long and healthy life. So even though that was long-winded, Mark, and I know that, even with that, I know that my friends were there, are there, and will be there. And on that, I rest.
Thank you so much, because it's, what you say is coming from your heart. And that's what, is important for people to see, is the emotions and the raw emotions that we go through when we go through a cancer journey, and all the things that we have to navigate, because it's very there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. And anybody who's been through a cancer journey knows how complex, and I did a video on how complex it is. And so what I'd like to ask you now is what triggered a life-changing moment in your cancer journey?
Um, I will say, I will say not directly from the beginning, but from the beginning. Um, I realized that the most important attribute through this journey, and let me just preface it by saying I was starting to try to eat everything right. I was trying to walk every day, get some form of exercise. I was doing everything that my doctors told me to do. Of course, I was at all my treatments. Any medications they told me to take, I was taking. I was doing everything that I was told to do. But the one attribute that I think that was most profound for me was having a positive mindset. Um, One of the very first friends that I called to tell when I got the diagnosis has always made a statement that everything begins with a thought. Everything begins with a thought. And I've always said, she's always said that. And I've always said words are so powerful. So be very
Yes.
careful what you speak. And she's lived her life with the thought. I've lived my life with the word. But during that, what it triggered was the mindset, my thought to 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 believe that I was going to come through this, to think on after everything was over how I would be, um, to speak it to everybody that I am fine, I am going to be healed, I am healed, I am an overcomer, I am, I'm going to be well. Um, and to be positive, to be positive in just life, to enjoy the sunshine, the warm weather, um, to enjoy birds singing, to enjoy good music, to enjoy just dancing when I hear music and I get happy, to just have joy to come into my life. Um, and the joy made me continually to be on an upward spiral of positivity. Um, to laugh as much as I could, as often as I could, kept me thinking good things, positive things. So for me, it's the mindset. And even when I was going through the cancer, the chemo treatments, nurses would say people that had a positive mindset or were in good spirits, they're the ones that made it through. They weren't willing to give up, they're willing to fight, and they're willing just to enjoy. And that was it, to just enjoy every moment, and I've gotten to the point now where I just enjoy every moment that I live or every day. I enjoy every breath that I take. It is to that point, to every breath, because it's such a blessing that I'm here, especially when I received the diagnosis and was told that it was an aggressive cancer, that chemo doesn't always take, and if the chemo didn't take, I would not make it. All of these things that were clouding my positive thoughts. And I had to like almost knock them down and just say, regardless of all that, I am going to live, but I'm not just going to live. I'm going to live healthy. I'm going to live joyfully. I'm going to live positively, and I'm going to live long. And I will be healthy. Um, I don't know why I'm so long-winded today, but but that concludes that.
Uh, you know, let me say this much. We talk, you and I talk all the time, and I am so happy and so glad that we met, that we know each other. I mean, I think we're like right on the same thought process, and you've helped me so much, and hopefully I've helped you,
You
you know,
have.
and that's what is so beautiful about this journey is when you connect with people such as yourself and others that we've connected with. It makes it's profound. It's absolutely profound, and it's life changing. I mean, this
Yes.
experience has absolutely completely changed my life in many ways, many ways for the better. And I'm so thankful for you. I am so thankful that we had this time to, and you weren't long-winded. I really appreciate, your honesty and your perspective on this, and for sharing it from a woman's perspective. So thank you so much, Linda, as always. And for for those, you and I know we have had a uh, I don't even know what you call it, but we've tried to do this call a number of times today, and I've been having computer problems with Zoom, and you've had other problems, and so but we finally came together and we did it, and I'm so thankful for you, Linda. Thank you.
Thank
Uh,
you, Mark.
what I'd like to do is I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here at To Be Your Own Hero. Please subscribe, like, and make a comment in the comment section of the video. And please join us on Thursdays at Clubhouse, on the Clubhouse app. If you have any questions, please reach out to me and ask me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. But we have our Cancer Conquering Community on Thursdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and it's a really growing, and I think we're all very happy at the way it's growing and the people that are coming in and celebrating with us and discussing with us, and it's a great place. And so I'd like to thank everybody at this time, and I want to make sure that you appreciate life. Life is so precious and it's so wonderful, and it's a blessing. Every day is a blessing. And so appreciate every single day, every single hour, every single minute, and with what Linda just said, every single breath. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time. And have a great week, everyone.